Alright guys, I thought I'd just do a quick video to go over what I thought of the UK election. Obviously Boris got a resounding win, which was absolutely amazing to see. But I just, thinking back over the whole period, like the last couple years or even more, a few years or so, I just find it so interesting how this whole thing has evolved. Basically I joined UKIP just after 2016 when the referendum happened, because I saw how much of an impact UKIP made in bringing about the Brexit referendum. And I guess UKIP was probably the start of the whole thing, really. I mean, you could argue, you could go back to the days of Labour and Tony Benn and things like that when you had Eurosceptics back then, but the period we're in now was pretty much started by UKIP, with Nigel Farage especially pounding on the pressure for there to be a referendum on the EU. And so that happened thanks to the UKIP putting the pressure on Cameron. So that referendum happened in 2016. So I feel like we have UKIP to thank for bringing this thing all about in the first place. And then of course after that we had the referendum, we had the Leave vote, but we had all the betrayals and the corruption in Parliament. And so Nigel Farage left UKIP to found the Brexit Party. And the Brexit Party, without the Brexit Party, we would not have Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. He would not be leader of the Conservative Party, because the Conservative Party was so against the majority of the politicians, Boris Johnson becoming the leader of the Conservatives, because he's basically one of us. He's I would say a nationalist and a populist, and someone who wants to do something serious about Brexit and immigration and things like that. And so thanks to Nigel Farage campaigning with the Brexit Party, we got Boris Johnson as leader of the Conservatives. And because of that whole pressure and that whole movement, which first of all was with UKIP, and then some went to the Brexit Party, and Nigel Farage and the Brexit Party, it's now moved to Boris Johnson now, who's basically consolidated all that support and come away with probably, well, one of the biggest wins for a Conservative government, certainly the biggest since Thatcher. And it's been beautiful to see, because it's like the culmination of everything we've been working for. And I know that there'll be lots of people that will be disappointed and think, oh, well, you know, it should have been UKIP doing this, or it should have been the Brexit Party. But the fact is, it's not. And, you know, it might not be the leader you were hoping for or expected, but Boris Johnson is the man to get things done. And I've been following Boris for a long time. Like, I remember in my old job when I had time for it, I would always watch Boris Johnson's interviews on LBC when he was London Mayor. And I knew from the start that this guy had charisma, the way he spoke, and you know, his enthusiasm and his bombacity and his ridiculousness as well. There's something endearing about how pompous and ridiculous he can be, but at the same time he's very patriotic and believes in this country and the values and the foundations of this country. I wrote an article recently on Kib Central, which you can find, where I basically talk about how Boris Johnson is basically continuing the vision of what Gerard Batten had for the country, which was basically a nationalist movement to best represent the working class. And I truly believe that Boris Johnson is doing that now. He's basically taking over from Gerard Batten in that sense. And so I think now is the perfect time to just get all the right together and just unite them for good now under the Conservative Party. And so now what we need to do, join the Conservatives, you know, get involved in your branch, and let's see if we can, you know, the Conservative Party has already moved much more to the right now. Let's see if we can keep it that way. Let's see if we can move it even more that way. And not obviously crazily to the right, because I've never subscribed to right views or anything like that, but really sort of get that populist nationalist sentiment cemented. Because I believe that very much in the parallel with Trump in America, Trump basically transformed the Republican Party to being quite globalist and corporate and mealy-mouthed, really, to being very much a populist nationalist party. And that's changed for good now. Those supporters will be there for good, and fingers crossed it's going to stay that way. So let's do the same thing with the Conservative Party. It's already moved in this populist nationalist direction where they're speaking honestly and openly about things like immigration and doing tough things about it, things to do with trade and Brexit. Let's keep it in that direction. Let's not lose the momentum we have right now. So yeah, join the Conservatives, get involved in your local branch, and hopefully with things like the Purple Tories, I don't want to call it a movement because it sounds a bit, sounds like I'm making it out to be bigger than what it is, but little groups like Purple Tories can really influence, I think, pressure on the Conservative movement to really stay on this course. So yeah, get involved and let's make this country great again. How about that? See you later.